Guys, welcome back. Well, it was a rough day because my husband was transferred out of the ICU. Unfortunately, not because he's so much better, as they needed the room and he was stable. So in an alternate universe, he would still be in the ICU. But because he's breathing on his own, which is kind of the criteria for being in the ICU these days, they put him into a step-down unit. And unfortunately, I can't visit him in the step-down unit. Hopefully tomorrow they will move him somewhere else. So today I wanted to be close to the hospital and not just sitting around doing nothing. I did some retail therapy. There is nothing in the world that picks me up better than art supplies. Don't judge me. But you'll be happy to know I was very good, and even though I bought a lot of things, I didn't go as crazy as I had planned on going. So let's take a look at some of my stress purchases. So the first thing I bought was the Derwent watercolor collection, and I really like this, and I bought it for a reason. First of all, it wasn't that expensive. I think I paid between $16 and $20. This has a little bit of everything that Derwent has to offer. It's a small little set, but it's like hors d'oeuvres. So I was always curious about these. First, they have the watercolor pencils, and I was going to buy separates on the watercolor because they do have the singles of these available. But I just wanted to try them, and they came in a set, so it was cheaper to buy them in the set than it was to just buy a couple. And the way they curated this set, you can do every color, and I'm going to show you in a minute. Now, these are the 3 water pencils that they give you, and I just wanted to try them in comparison to their Inktense. I think I like their Inktense a little bit better. See what the black looks like. Oh, the black is nice. Look at that. Woo, baby. It's got like it's a blue-black. You can tell as I spread it out that it's got a lot of blue. That is kick-ass. Nice pencil. Good job, Derwent. Then they've got, of course, their Inktense. And I have the full set of Inktense. I really didn't need these, but I like my Inktense, and I don't use them often enough. And now that I'm into watercolor, they are certainly coming out of the rare closet and into where I keep my everyday pencils, because these things rock socks. It's ink. It's not watercolor paint. It's got really super intense coloration. I meant really super intense. And you can see it just is beautiful. And what I like about this is you don't need much water. So you can use this on coloring books if you're really good with the water. Like, this is a lot of water. I'm not paying as much attention to it as I should. This is a lot. But if you just use a little bit, you could activate it. Now, with Inktense, once it's activated, it's done. You're finished. Unlike watercolors that, once they dry, you can semi-activate it again. With the Inktense, you put your Inktense down, you activate it, and it's there on the paper. It's like a marker. So, very cool. Now, this is where I was really super curious. I wanted to know what their blocks did. I've seen them using them in a couple of different ways. They use them as a pastel, and I've seen people actually go and color with them. But this is the messy way. I don't have any intention of using it that way. But look how beautiful they brighten up. Look at the color. It's gorgeous. So you can use it that way, or you can just dip your brush like a watercolor on it, and it's just as intense. So either way, decide that you want to use it, it works. But the colors that they gave in this set really blend nicely together. And you can actually then use your Inktense or your watercolor. So depending on whether you're doing details or and you need it in a pencil form, look how intense that is. So if you're into vibrant colors, this is fantastic. I did some, I was messing with them, and I did the blueberries in them, and I think the red that are around, and then I tried, you know, testing them with the leaves. They did great. Now, what's really good about this is I didn't waste any tooth on the paper. I can go in now with any pencil I want, and I still have full tooth. But I think I'm going to end up with the full set of the blocks. I think I like them better than the watercolor. The watercolor pencils were nice. They were good. But I've got, you know, other sets of that. I think I'm going to end up buying a full set of block. And that's what I love about this, because I got to test it out. Then I just bought some masking fluid. I have another jar of this. It was really good, but I left the top open. Never do that. This stuff dries. And it should be completely liquid, which it is. And what masking fluid will do, and this is colored, and I have a masking fluid brush around here somewhere. Here it is. Now, you can't use your regular brushes with this, because once you get the latex in it, the brush is done. And you can use soap to help clean it, but I didn't the first time. I didn't know that trick. And what you do is you put the masking fluid on, and then you wait. You can cover up eyes, anywhere on the paper that you want to remain white. And I'll show you what it does. It needs to dry. Clean it up a little bit so I can reuse this brush. Now, you can let it dry and then it peels off. But just remember, this brush is now dedicated to your application of masking fluid. So, in fact, I need to put tape on here because I have these in with my regular brushes and I don't want to grab them. Then I bought some really cool things. This big blue monstrosity right here, and I have to lift it up for you to see it because it's quite large. Okay, this is from Masters. Well, I can't really read it off of that. And it opens up, and it's kind of like a gigantic flat Tupperware. So, Masterson. Okay, now this is actually for oil paint, and what you do is you leave your oil paint in here, and then you cover it up and it's airtight, so you don't dry out your oil paint. But I didn't buy it for that. I actually bought it as a storage to put my paints in. So one side, so it'll sit flat on the shelf, which is great. I lift it up, I take the paints out that I want, and then it had a little other feature, which was the reason why I loved it. And I don't think it was meant for anything, like they didn't plan this, but I spotted a dual purpose. When you turn it over, I don't know how many other people didn't notice this. These are all fantastic for watercolor, for separating your colors. So watercolor can dry, so you don't have to, and you can reuse it like a palette. So store it like this on my shelf. Make sure nothing goes on top of it, and even if it does, it's okay. But the paint can dry in here, and you just reanimate it. And it had so many compartments. I was looking at smaller palettes, and a tiny one was like really small. $20? I was like, are you serious? I think I spent $18 on this, and I have storage plus a palette, and you can't go wrong with that for 18 bucks. Then I wanted one of these. Muscaline Art Collection Watercolor Album. And these are good for little studies that you want to do. I haven't opened it yet. I was going to open it. I wanted it to look at it on camera. Thin paper. It's not thick. So it's not my 300 that I like. It's a 200. Oh, it's nice. It's got a nice texture. Oh, it's thick enough. It's definitely thick enough. I don't think the water's going to go through that. So I'm going to do, you know, on the run sketches. I can bring it to the hospital. All I need is a little cup of water, you know, and one of my small palettes of paint that I could just put in. Let's do a quick look and see at how it... Oh, it's nice and soft. A little quick drying. But this isn't regular paint that I'm using. This is an iridescent watercolor. Let me try a regular watercolor. Oh, very nice with a regular watercolor. That spread. Nice. Now let's see if it went through. No, it's not that bad of buckling. I mean, you're always going to get buckle. So, very nice. And this, let's see if this is dry. A little bit. Still a little tacky. Okay, so whenever I go to Blix, I always pick up some of the singles of the Luminous. And this time I bought, let's see, what is this? Burnt Salvia. I love these pencils, but the set's expensive. So I treat myself every once in a while to, you know, some of the singles of the colors I really love. Because I don't really need more pencils, if you know what I mean. I don't need them. I like this color. Sienna 10%. Burnt Sienna 10%. Nice. This is a great skin color. What color does that remind you of? Clay Rose. We just made that. This is, I believe, slightly darker than the Clay Rose in the Prismacolor set. It's Clay Rose. Ooh, I'd been a betcha. It's Clay Rose. Rosy beige. Maybe. Almost. Rosy beige is a bit browner. But we may still get lucky with that Clay Rose. Nectar. The one pencil that's missing is my Clay Rose. I must have been using it. No, not even close. No, it's very close to that. Clay Rose. Clay Rose is slightly darker. It's an in-between color. So we have a really analogous colors going on here. If I use these 4 pencils, I can do full skin. Add in a little lighter color. Light peach would be my base color. See how nice that blends in? So, very happy. Then I bought, there's 2 color pencils I can never find. One is the Dahlia Purple. Whenever I use Dahlia Purple, it's always the shortest pencil in my Prismacolor box. I guess I just like the color because this and yellow make the most gorgeous sunsets. Have you ever added yellow to Dahlia Purple? Because the Dahlia has so much red in it. That it brings out an orange. That's so pretty. Use this in a flower. These 2 color pencils together. Canary Yellow and Dahlia Purple. Try it. You will not be upset. Okay, then I bought a couple of brushes because I needed them. I have fan brushes. They were used with acrylic paint and they're really old, and you can see how, you know, it's been used a lot, and I have a little white gouache stuck on it. But once you use it with acrylics and oil paint, you really shouldn't use it for watercolor. Have a dedicated set when it comes to watercolors. So I bought a really soft one, and this is by Winsor & Newton. I'm really beginning to like Winsor & Newton stuff, and it's Uric brand. I have a couple of other paint things by them, but it's their fan brush. And then I bought 2 Winsor & Newton detail brushes, because my detail brushes are kind of shot and cheap. I got 2 good brushes. I know a lot of people had given me ideas about different watercolor sets to buy, and they all looked really good. The only problem is I really like the sets that I have, and I don't want to turn obsessive when it comes to these things. You know, I'm going to use a set, like a set, get to know a set, and then when I run out of colors, buy another set. So what I did was I bought colors in all different brands. I wanted to just try stuff out. So what I didn't have was a really good red. You know how like you buy pencils and you test the reds, and you have a blue red, a pinky red, and you have the orange reds. But you just need a middle color red. One that that go-to red. And so, you know, I got it coming up for an Andy's set. I made sure that there was a dead middle red in it. 3 different reds. And this was I believe, the darker. And there goes my dog. That's the blue red. And this looked like it was going to be a browner red. And it is. This looks like a blood red. Like a dark, rich blood red. And then I bought the brightest middle red that I could find, and they're all different brands, so when I use them I'll say so in the video. Now I can go back, and if I like one over another, and they're watercolors so I can add some water to them, if I like one over another, then I can get the set. That's my middle. That's not pinky, that's not orangey, dead middle. That's got like a purple, pretty color. I didn't have this one. Pretty color. And that's Quincidone red. Quina. You don't really expect me to be able to read that. But I wanted to test this brand, Blick's, because Blick's was a little bit cheaper. And if I fall in love with Blick's watercolors, just as easy to fall in love with a rich man than a poor man. And it's just as easy to fall in love with a cheaper price than a expensive one if you truly like it. And I do like this. I mean, it's a little translucent, but that's okay. It's watercolor, it should be. And let's just take a look at this. This is a pinky red. So I'm quite happy. Now I can test to see how that works out. Then I lost my orange paint. I don't know how I did that. I have it in the pan, but my tube of orange paint is just gone. And I have every other color in the set except for the orange. So I went out and I bought 2 orange ones. This is by Winsor & Newton. And I already know I have the gouache from them. So far I've liked everything from Winsor & Newton, from their paper down to their everything. So that's a nice yellow-orange, and this is Winsor & Newton Gold Ochre. I have this color actually in one of the pans that came with this color, and it's like a goldenrod. And in pencils, I use goldenrod a lot. Let's see. Very nice. Let's take a look at this. Goldenrod, yeah. You have to love. This is nice. Pumpkin, wow. This is a nice pumpkin combo. Very happy. Okay, so Winsor & Newton definitely wins, but I knew that. Then there's Cotman. And then there's Blick's Phthalo yellow. That's a nice yellow green. Let's see how my fan brush does, now that I just have it. Very nice. That's for grass. When I was doing grass the other day and it didn't look grassy, well, that's because I learned you use a fan brush. Apparently, that's what a fan brush is for. We learn stuff every day. So if I added in another thing of green, look how nice that is. Now let's see what it looks like really saturated. Very pretty. Happy. And was that Blix? I think it was Blix. Yes, it was. So I've used 2 colors from Blix. Well, actually 3. I put 3 colors, yeah. And Van Dyke Brown. I think Van Dyke Brown I have in my Polychromos set, right? Tube has a little bit of pressure in it. Van Dyke Brown is a sepia. You can see that. Basically. Got a little nice coffee in it. I'm going to have some fun. I feel the stress coming off of me. Now let's see. How does this work? Can I peel it yet? I'm supposed to do is you peel it. The paint was a little wet, so it's smeared in there. It held. Let's see. Let's get this little dot up. There's a tool you can get to take it off. Look how clean that is. Yes, look at that. Can you see that? Perfectly white. So with this, you add your pencil too. Okay, you can add your pencil. And you know how you want to keep a little line somewhere white? You use this, and then you peel it up. And that little line that you need to keep white stays white. So this is the Shulmeki, I'm reading a different language, Shulmeki brand. It's blue. I will leave links to everything in the description. So far, I'm thrilled with everything I bought today. And I'll keep you guys updated. Life changes on a dime. Love you. Bye-bye.